Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Troy.
And I'm Ben-Jamin Toy.
We're broadcasting from the Cohesion Culture headquarters in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, where even when it rains, the sun still shines.
You're going to hear real-time stories from leaders confessing their most crucial or recent experiences in business.
Learn what their cost them, steps they took to fix it, and how they planned
to not do that one again.
All right, welcome cohesive leaders. Ben-Jamin coming at you. Got Trevor in the studio helping out while Dr. Troy is out, and we are joined with Holly Porter. Where are you calling in from?
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah, excellent. What's the weather like out there now?
Pretty warm right now.
But you guys, it's warm, and then do you guys get pretty good cold though? Like even the days, like when it's in summer? Because I've been in Yellowstone before, and it's 90 and 30. So what are your nights like?
Yeah, it's wild. Well, like yesterday, it held, even though it's summer and it's hot. Today it's probably, I don't know, in the high 80s. So okay. It's all over the place. But where I live right now is in Cedar City, and we do get all four seasons.
Oh wow! Is it a dry heat or a
very dry?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, very dry.
Gotcha.
Well, Holly, we like to, before we kind of dive into it, get to know a little bit more about you. You know, anyone can look at your resume and look at your LinkedIn profile and see those things, but we would like you to tell us something that we wouldn't find on your resume or LinkedIn profile.
Oh, I have a claim to fame. Back when I had a voice prior to COVID and a couple intubations and a trachea, I sang the national anthem for the Utah Summer Games, which is a Olympic qualifier. And it was like outside in the football field with 30,000 people. And I had 13 cellos that were playing the national anthem. And I was singing and they were playing behind me.
Well, that's
I thought
awesome.
that was very original.
Yeah. Did you have to, were you able to rehearse with them first?
Oh yeah, lots, because they were kids. So they were a bunch of teenagers, and I liked it because cellos are very more low, and I sing more low, so it probably was even a little lower than I would have done normally. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And the words came out the way they're supposed to, and everything.
And I got compliments because we didn't like try to mix up the rendition of it. We just did it patriotic,
That's
normal.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, awesome. Next question is going to be a little bit different, unique. Okay. I'd love for you to share who Holly Porter is in character traits, values, behaviors. So how would you describe yourself without any hats or roles? Or how would folks describe you if you were to leave the room? Or how would you want them to describe you? That's what we're going for, is you as a person.
Well, I hope how I want is kind of in alignment with what people would say, right? Isn't that our goal? Kind goes a long ways. And so I feel like kindness is something that's missing a lot right now. Definitely integrity, I feel like has been, am I on the right track to what you're looking for?
I don't know your answers.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, are those two? I'm like, those are the first two. When I had a magazine, I started with 3 values, and it was build relationships, build community, build prosperity. And prosperity for me wasn't all about money. You can be prosperous in many things, but absolutely. I have kind of carried that for many years now, probably about 6 years I've used that I feel like you start with the relationships. They're so important to me. And then you build your community around that. And so
what are things you do to build relationships? How do you do that?
Well, I love in person. I'm kind of an event junkie, not as much as I used to be since COVID, as all of us, but I had a big, long hospital stay with COVID. And so I'm a little nervous to be around too many crowds all the time, but I love events. I feel like when you go and you're just eyeball to eyeball with people, Zoom's our next best thing. I mean, that we can have. But I feel like just those in-person things, you really, a text, you can't understand, what they're saying half the time because the punctual, plus I talk text everything. So it says all kinds of crazy things I don't even mean or say, but I just live and in person. networking.
Love it. Love it.
So hats that you wear, roles that you fulfill. What are you doing now? Kind of what has led you to where you are now with those
Yeah.
roles?
Wow. Well, I always wore lots of hats, literally too. And I have always had 3 or 4 companies at a time. And so when we talk about what hats, on top of raising a lot of kids and, having grandkids, you make time and room for all of that. But I've just always been an entrepreneur. And so probably starting about 12 years old, I realized that I didn't really want to really work for anyone else. I just kind of wanted to do my own thing. And sometimes that's benefited me in my life and sometimes it hasn't. We've had lots of learning lessons along the way. The challenge though, when your husband and you are both entrepreneurs, because you've got to really be smart around about a lot of things that maybe we weren't as smart now that we're older, looking back going, gosh, we probably could have done a lot of things differently now. But again, lessons learned. And I feel like there's no mistakes. If you make them, you take it and chalk it up for a learned lesson and do better next time.
So what have some of the businesses been?
Oh my gosh, they're not even mostly related. So for me, as my kids grew up, I had an in-home daycare. So I was licensed for the state and did that. And then I had a preschool. And then I had a kids clothing store. So those were like, as my kids were growing up, I kind of did businesses that would support me being able to still be with them. And then I had a salon and spa for 20 years. I'm a real estate broker of 20 years now. We have a construction company that we're not really doing a lot with right now. It's been a rough ride for my husband, just it's concrete. So it's hard work. So we've had that for many years, kind of like weeding our way out of that. What else? We had a fundraising company. Gosh, I've had a tech company that I still have actually, a nonprofit. I just incorporated a new company called International Retreat Association. I don't know. That was like my 12th startup. So I don't know how many I gave you, but somewhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Lots-
you and your husband had a couple of them together? But also-
Yeah, sometimes 3 or 4, but at least 2 or 3 always. Yeah. Usually we filed about 4 companies' taxes a year. Yeah.
Fun. All right. So with a lot of businesses, you said 8 kids and how many grandkids?
19.
There's a chance for some uh-ohs to happen along the way. Love to hear what uh-oh you came prepared to share that you can share that we can other folks that are learning in their career can learn from.
Oh,
What
yeah.
happened? Paint
Gosh,
the
I have
story.
days worth, I bet. I mean, for me and career and talk about shift, when we talk about that, was during COVID. So I ended up getting it like most of us did and landed in the hospital for 70 days and had 2 intubations and a trachea and sepsis and some other life and threatening infections. And then I got out and had a long recovery, got long COVID. I had some cool out of body near death experiences while I was in the hospital that really projected the road and what I'm doing now and put me on a lot of shifts. My book is actually called Near Death Shift for that reason. And it's surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. And for my uh-ohs, yeah, it was a life-threatening experience, but it was like I never felt like I had a purpose, a real purpose until I almost died. And I don't want people to almost die to really live or really find your purpose, because you can not have to do that. That's definitely the hard way, which is the road I take many times. So, but for me, is something when something happens to you that is really out of your control. I mean, if you have something life threatening like I did, you figure out, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be the victor or the victim? And I'm definitely not a victim. So my goal every day was better's better. And what can I do today to get better than I was yesterday, which was about my health. And now that I'm a lot better, it's really about life every day. It's like everyone should live what can I do better today to have than I did yesterday? And I think when you're always growing and learning, you just become, I don't know, just different. It changes you.
I can't imagine what you went through for that, and definitely it's traumatic experience, but you've learned from it, so that's a good thing. But was there a scenario where, are you saying that you did things to cause you getting the COVID by in a group scenario? Because I want to go into the uh-ohs that we're talking about are things that you caused. So the life circumstances we get, but we wanted the things you can truly learn from are things that you had a hand in doing.
Yeah.
So what is something that you did to something that we can dive into that became a lesson later?
Well, I would say, okay, for that, our construction company, we had it. My husband had done concrete 41 years, long time. He didn't have his company the whole time, but a lot, many years. And we partnered with one of our kids. And I think the would be just poor planning, like not really. My husband's not a planner. I love a plan. I don't always follow it. And I love to have one. He just is going to fly by the seat of his pants. And so the goal was to sell the company to my son. And so he came in and, we brought him into the company with no money. I mean, he didn't come in with anything. We just like brought him in as a full partner. And he's a hustler. He's go-getter, and he helped build it up, and they were partners for a few years. And then about a year ahead of schedule, the goal was to sell it to him. And that would give us a little chunk of money to go do our next thing. And we were actually about a year ahead of schedule. He decided to buy it. And the week we were going to make everything happen, it was like between Christmas and New Year's, we went to dinner with them, and basically they let us know they wouldn't be buying it and they were going out on their own. So basically our competition now to what we were doing. And it was tough because Scott and I combined the 8 kids, just so I didn't birth them all, but we raised them all in the same house. We had custody of all of them. So this is my oldest son. And it was so, it was so disappointing to realize that we didn't plan for that, and we lost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by that happening, because it almost felt like it put us out of business. My husband wasn't ready to grow bigger at that point, and they wanted more, and that's great. And my husband was so great about it to our son. And relationships, as I said earlier, are like number one for me. So when you have these kinds of stressors going on, I'm supportive. He's gone on to do very well. He also, besides the concrete company, started like a landscaping forms company. And he also started a trucking company where he hauls gravel trucks and things like that. And it was just realizing, oh shoot, we didn't have plan B. Like that was our plan, and somebody changed it for us just like that. It was devastating. And I feel like we handled it very well. We did not have a relationship with them anymore. I mean, I was more disappointed, that my child in particular would do that. It could have been a different situation, maybe without it being a relative, but that was just, it was kind of life altering for us. And we had to pivot. And then within a couple of years after that is when I got sick, and just so many things changed for us all at once so quickly. But we had so many miracles along the way too, that were just worth.
So this is something we can unpack. So the was the not having things in writing, or not planning for the inevitable transfer, right? It was more of a grooming, but not an actual plan.
Yeah, right. And definitely no contracts. I mean,
okay. So you alluded that it cost you some money. So what was the actual cost? So this decision was made by you not planning, you not having a contract. What was the cost to you in money, in social capital, in sleep, in relationship? Like what you alluded to a little bit, but I want you to speak to the cost of it.
I mean, money, I would say probably $500,000 in money.
An opportunity cost or actual loss?
Oh, actual, like if we were going to say, okay, this is the value of the company right now, let's just split it in half. I mean, it was probably valued at more than that. That was just kind of what we had thought they would buy it for from us for. And we get a $500,000 to go start and do whatever was next. Right. So, I mean, yeah, when you add, I mean, that was just like the deal we were giving him, you know, and to split everything down like that was, I thought, very giving of my husband. Cause like I said, my son didn't come in with any money into the company at all, but he did put a lot of time into it and energy and help build it up. He's a lot more, he's just more of a go-getter. You know, my husband's he's an introvert. He's a fun guy, but he's quiet and you don't always know what he's thinking. My son, you know, everything he's thinking. He's very ADHD. They were totally opposite, which is why it was a great partnership while it lasted. Yeah, I don't know. Did that answer that?
Yeah. I mean, in the money aspect now, but at first, I'm sure, especially during the holidays, it couldn't have been easy. Was there, how did the stress affect you? Was there sleep? Like, was there a tense conversation? Like, how did the actual conversation then go, you know, after this? Did he give up the reasons? And was it automatic saying, okay, oh, well, it's our bad? Or was there some tense times?
You know, it was tense. I think my son was as fair under the circumstances that he could be. He took over because he wanted to build and we didn't. And so a lot of the things that they had debt on, he took on. He ended up buying a lot of stuff that was my husband's off of him. He ended up paying my husband his paycheck for like, I don't know, about 14 months to help purchase that stuff. It wasn't like we got a lump sum, but when you're getting it like monthly like that, it's different. It's not so, it wasn't a financial gain, you know, in a way it was nice. Yeah, sure. It was nice to have that little extra money for 14 months or whatever they decided. But I had to kind of just take a back seat at that point with it as well. I didn't feel like there was ever any dishonesty going on. And I can't say I don't blame my son for wanting to be on his own and do his own thing. You know, financially, it ended up being way better for him. I mean, hundreds of thousands probably of dollars better for him. So it could have always been worse, but it definitely was sad it happened in the first place. And yeah, I think I really have a lot more respect for my husband now, even than I did then, because I just watched like what a kind person. I mean, remember that was my other word. I want the kindness is kind of tough. And it's like, I don't know. I guess I just always think the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And even better than that, do you know the platinum rule?
Others as they would have done to themselves.
But yeah. And so you don't do them as you want, you give them
Right.
what they want.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess that's just how I live. And a lot of people tell me, you know, people don't think like that. They're not in your brain I ran for political office years ago, and that was the first time. I mean, I'm in my 40s, and it was the first time I realized how mean people were. I mean, really, seriously, I was that naive that I just thought, how can people do that? Or why? Like, I don't comprehend that way, because I treat people with respect, and I watch the things going on in the world now, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, where's our morals, and where is our respect for others and kindness? And it just, I don't know. It's missing in a lot of places.
So I'm curious, and this may be total based. When you guys had the plan, you and your husband had your plan. Was it one of those scenarios where you just said, okay, this would be a great thing to do, and you brought him on, but he just went along with, or did he actually verbally prior to this time ever actually say, I plan on buying it? Like, was it more of a plan that you guys just said and he went along with, or was it like laid out together at one point?
It was laid out. Yeah, it was definitely blindsided us, completely blindsided us. Like, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to figure things out this week, which was a year ahead of them buying it a year ahead. And that's where the plan was. We had a plan. And then it was like, well, gotcha. I don't know why I should wait. If you're looking to get out, then let's happen this year. It was kind of that thing. So it just was a year ahead of time, which was fine. We were okay with whatever, but yeah, it did. It definitely, I just remember it really blindsided us. And we were in Applebee's of all places eating dinner, and it threw us for a loop for sure.
So now looking back on that, what would have been important things for you to have done differently?
Differently, I would say, especially your listeners, when you're working with family, you still need to keep contracts. You still need to have some accountability. Um, I look back and I think we should have figured out a way. Like he should have had to have that buy-in. I feel like we handed him a lot, and he's a hard worker. Don't get me wrong. He really helped build the company up for sure. When my husband didn't want that role anymore, and so I think just having things legal. I mean, who wants to sue their family? Who wants to sue their own kid? Like we probably never would have done that, even if it was there. It just would have been disappointing, but it might have made him second guess what he was doing, realizing, this is wrong. Like, why would you screw over your parents, kind of thing.
Right. I think a lot of things like that are, when you have the thoughts in your head and your mind of your plan or how to do something, but then once you put it down on paper, it's different. It's more real. It's concrete.
Yeah.
And even though it's what you were thinking, still when you see it written down, other people, you share with others, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't think we had like a value set. I just know in my mind, I mean, I just felt like, wow, I just felt like you kind of just put us out of business. I mean, and they didn't. We kept continuing to work, but it was like, yeah, it changed everything for us for sure.
And I've been an entrepreneur for a while too, and used to never want to do partnerships because I've heard of horror stories, right? Family and friends and all that. And I just had a conversation with somebody about this, but the best thing, the way to be kind is to have that agreement done when everybody's friends and knowing that disagreements will come. Okay, we both have cool heads. Let's talk about if a situation arises, how are we going to handle it? And that's where I'm now way open to partnerships now, because you can bring in folks that do sweat equity versus money versus IP and all this, because you clearly articulate what happens, who's the managing partner, who's not, et cetera, et cetera. And I was so leery of that because I wanted to control everything, but now it's like, I'd rather have 20% of a little than 100% of nothing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've had other partners as well. I had one for a very short time in the salon, did not end well. And we had another one prior that was a general contractor that my husband years before that had, not for very long, like maybe only a year. But the problem is he let another guy use their general contracting license. He was a roofer. And so back then he would tell the bank that he owned the concrete company and the roofing company and the framing company. So the bank would write all the checks to him and then he wouldn't pay us. So the partner wasn't embezzling money. The other guy was, that we weren't partners with. And oh boy, I mean, I was surprised that didn't just, shut us down then. I mean, we survived. I mean, never filed bankruptcy over it or anything like that, but it was some tough times. Yeah.
For sure. It's clear that you have a mindset about the thing happened. It happened to you, or happened for you, not to you, and you got some good things from it, right?
Yeah.
Now, how could you reframe this though, and to an employee, someone's growing in their career, a situation where they're offered something or a promotion? How can you translate this situation into someone late 20s in the corporate world?
Yeah, I would say ask the right questions. That's been my biggest downfall, I'd say, in all of my business dealings and things that have gone wrong. But ask the right questions. Sometimes you don't know what that is, and there's so many things now, especially with AI. You can go down a conversation with AI that'll help you like think of things you don't think of. Have a conversation. I do it all the time. It's great to bounce things off other business people, other people that have kind of lived, make sure that they're where you want to go when you're getting advice from people. Make sure they've been there, done that. Don't take advice from someone who's never been successful at anything, right? I think we tend to give people more credit than they deserve sometimes, but listen and just get things in writing. Be clear of your understanding beforehand, not just in the communication, but in whatever the writing is. If you don't understand something, that's the time to ask the question, not after something's fell apart and then you come back and go, oh, well, I didn't understand that. Well, you didn't understand it because you didn't ask any questions. So I feel like the asking question thing is so key.
We wholeheartedly get behind that one. We have an activity called Follow the Leader, makes people fold paper in half and they have to close their eyes and rip corners. And the whole lesson of that is about them trying to sometimes blame the person giving the orders. Like, well, you didn't ask questions. I could have been clear, but I didn't know what you didn't know, and things like that. So it's a back and forth exercise to understand that questions for clarity, for understanding is our true goal. Communication is not key, but a comprehension is. Like, why is there always enough time to do it twice, but never enough time to do it right the first time?
For me, it's 3 times. 3 is my magical number. I don't know what it is, but it's like I got to make every mistake 3 times, and then I'm like, there's probably a better way, or do something different. You might get a different result.
Well, it's better than some saying 7. You have to hear it 7 times before it takes root. So I think you're ahead of the curve of some.
Okay. Well, 3 is more than 2 more times than I want it to be.
Yeah.
So Holly, I'm interested from your son's perspective. How would you say that he handled the situation, and how would he say that you did?
Yeah, interesting. It was about, I want to say about 4 years went by, and then it's like there was a problem. And by then, my husband and I mean, we never didn't not talk to him, I was really disappointed, but it was like, they're still my children, they still have my grandchildren. It's like, I wouldn't want to run a relationship over it or anything, but like 4 years later, all these things came up, and I thought, did they finally grow a conscience? Did they finally get guilty? And they thought we were harboring all these negative feelings. Because we weren't at all. And we finally had kind of a talk about it one day. I remember we met in a different town, even at a park, totally neutral, because it was odd. And all the things that they were thinking, like, weren't even anywhere where what we were feeling or thinking. Especially because 4 years later, I'm thinking, this could have been a conversation. If you guys were going to go with conscience, you should have done it when you did it, and not 4 years later, So we worked through everything, and it was all fine. But now they're probably our closest kids to us. And ironically, you want to know how good my husband is. He left just a year and a half ago, construction. It was just killing his back. And we moved here to Cedar City, which is not a town I wanted to move back to necessarily. I said we go for a year or 2. That's it. It's a Band-Aid. That's it for his next step. And he got a CDL, and he's driving for my son. Now that was hard for me because I'm the mama, and you did this basically to my husband, and I thought, and now he's working for you. It was a hard pill to swallow, and it was a third or more of the money we were making on our own. And so he's never been a W-2 employee his whole life, never. And here he is doing that. And so, he's close to, next year he'll be 62, and he's just thinking of the next steps. And I'm just like, all right, I just want him happy, whatever that is. And it was probably harder for me to let him make that decision with me and move back to a town that I didn't really want to live in. But it's been fine. I work a lot out of my home office and stuff. And so it's worked out fine. I keep telling him, though, in February, we're out of here. He's like, where are we going? I says, doesn't matter. Just make a plan. You got a lot of stuff to sell. So
is it possible, though, that your husband is maybe happier without having the stress of running the company? Even is it 2/3 worth making less money by not having the stress, or is it still just a challenging situation and he's biding his time?
That's such a loaded question, because at first I think he was just scared to make a change. If it's all you knew was concrete's all you knew, and he was very good at it. And now you're driving a truck, and then you're on the road and you're responsible for this big vehicle, and it's all new to him. So I think he struggled with that at first, and now I think he's okay doing it, and he's always loved driving. I always joked, said you'd make the best truck driver, because he just loves to drive, and he's only in town. He hauls he's still in construction. He's still hauling dirt, and he'll haul backhoes and, different things like that. But now I know he works a lot of hours, and they'll pay him time and a half. So for construction, that's good, because a lot of construction don't pay you time and a half. So my son's really good to his employees. He just does things right that way. but I think he struggles. Like I still do real estate, and I've had some random deals this year, and it's like I have one check coming that's like almost his whole year salary, and that's never happened, by the way, before that big. But it's just like he goes, "Oh my gosh!" I says, "Well, I've been working on it for like 2 years," and he goes, "Yeah, but you probably only have 20 hours into it." And he goes, "I have to work all year to make that." I'm thinking, I said, "Well, let's make a different choice then. Come do real estate again." He does have his real estate license, but just saying it's that's what's hard is when you're working by the hour. I like now, I feel like his mindset has changed to where he'll joke. And I'm like, please don't joke like that. It's really not funny to me. Like he'll be like, "Do you know how many hours I had to work for that?" Like that's his thinking, where before it didn't matter because you can always go make more money. And now he's like, time for money.
But that's a realistic mindset to have, that the majority of folks are doing that. Actually, it's a very powerful thing to understand how you're spending your money, how you're living your life, when you realize that thing that you're doing, you had to invest 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 10 hours doing this other thing to enjoy that. So is the trade-off there, right? So that from since the majority of our listeners are going to be, employees, it's very helpful to realize that when you have that time, I'm definitely somebody encouraged, go get you a side hustle, figure out how to make other money. But as you're figuring out the career and you're going up your ladder, it helps you think of transactions and purchases from that asset that you don't get back, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we make more money, but if you're only making it by the hour, it's important to realize, well, that designer shoe, does it give you enough joy to say that shoe is going to cost you 2.5 days of your life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He'll even say, that's an hour of my life. And I'm just like, I don't, it's just such different thinking than I've ever heard him before. And I'll be glad when he's out of that, because I don't like hearing that.
Totally get you.
Yeah. Good and bad. You're right.
Yeah. So Holly, what's a question you thought that we would ask that we did not ask?
Gosh, I don't know, because I thought this whole conversation didn't go where I even expected it to. So that's fine. It's something I never talk about. Gosh, I can't even think of anything.
So I'll bring it up. When did your book come out?
11/11 of last year. That's part of my story, the 1111. So yeah.
Unpack that for us a little bit if you can.
So 11/11. A lot of people, if you don't know about that, go just Google it or put it in AI and ask for what 1111 means. It's a very, very spiritual number. It's also the day I got out of the hospital. Something I was told in my near-death experience that I did on a logo for a business came back when I had them do a tree that was part of my near-death experience. I knew it had to have a tree, and when the tree came back, it had 11 leaves and 11 roots on the logo. They're just like so many signs. Even my birthday's 1/1. There's a lot of ones in my whole story, and they're just a very spiritual meaning for me. The book is also a spiritual and personal development book. It's kind of split into 2 parts. And I had a lot of books already before that, but not one this big, and definitely not one this purposeful, because purpose was what I came out of all this in. So I love the fact that, people are enjoying the learning aspect of it. Because to me, you can tell a story, but if someone's not going to learn something out of it, it's just a story. I feel like stories, we can learn from people's stories and what they go through. It's like, I tell people, you don't have to almost die to truly live. You can start living right now.
A great message, great story. Awesome. So if others want to get more about that, how can they get a hold of you or find information out about you?
Sure. Do you have show notes?
It'll be in a caption in the bottom.
Okay. I have one link that'll take you everywhere. It goes to websites, social media, email, the book, everything you need. One link.
Is it a domain?
It's Linktree.
Okay.
And then,
send that. So offline, you can send that to us,
Okay.
and then in the message that we found, or through Dr. Troy in the WhatsApp or in the LinkedIn, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Okay.
Do you want folks connecting with you on LinkedIn or any other websites?
yeah, everything's just, you click buttons on there. You can go anywhere, wherever you're at. I'm on every social media platform under Holly Porter or International Retreat Association. You can find me all over. Lots of near-death story podcasts on YouTube too. You just Google my name on YouTube, you'll find lots of those.
That's Holly Porter, Porter.
Yeah,
Excellent.
thanks.
All right, we're going to end today like we end all of our Cohesion Culture programs with the mantra of you don't need to know everything.
You just need to be teachable.